Kardama Muni, he was a great tapasvi. I mean, he used to perform severe austerities for the pleasure of the Lord. And Kardama Muni was living a life of a celibate. And he was ordered by his father Brahma that you should become Prajapati. Prajapati means you should increase the population in the world. And following the instructions of Brahma, he thought, okay, if I need to get married, then I should have a suitable wife, right? Who can be like-minded, of like disposition. If I have a particular nature, and if my wife don't go well with each other, it will create a disturbance. Instead of creating harmony and peace, it will create adverse situation in the married life. It is very important, if a person wishes to get married, a girl or a boy, she should have a partner of like disposition or like-minded. Very important to have a like-minded association. So, Kardamai thought that I have to go and look for a good wife across the world. Come on, how can I do that? Is it practically possible to even go across the world and find who is suitable for me, who is suitable for me, as per my nature? So, what is the best solution for that? Best solution is, now someone who is already married, it is not for them. Please be peaceful. I am also married, so I am very peaceful. So this is for those who are yet to get married, yet to find a partner. So best way is to ask God. Ask the Supreme God that you reside in the heart of everyone. Right? So you know our nature. So you can do the match the following. Which is that other person in the whole of this world, on this earth, who matches my nature? And please, can you make that arrangement, send it to me? So Kardam Muni, he was ordered by his father, he went through an intense tapasya. He spent 10% of his life just in doing tapasya. What was the tapasya for? To find a suitable girl in marriage. It is very important to have a suitable partner in marriage, because you have to spend whole life with him. And it is not appropriate to change partners. That is not the Vedic culture. That is not the culture. So, before you commit to someone, it is very important that you have a mutual understanding, you have a like-mindedness, lot of things. So Kardam Muni underwent tapasya for good amount of time. And the Supreme Lord appeared to him, and he instructed to him that 3 days from now, Swayamva Manu along with his daughter is going to come, and she is going to hand over his daughter to you. And she is like-minded, she knows your glories, she is perfectly suitable for you. You will not be disturbed in your path of devotional life. That is the most important thing. You won't be disturbed. She will be a support. Householder life is where we support each other. The husband and wife, they support each other. It's not that the husband and the girl and a boy, they understand each other. They understand each other's nature, right? They understand each other's liking, disliking, right? And then rendering service to each other is the most important thing. A husband and the wife, they both have their respective duties to be performed. And they do their duties for each other, selflessly. This relationship is a selfless relationship. Selfish relationship means we are only thinking of ourselves and we are not thinking of our partner, or we are not thinking of others. That is a selfish relationship. Selfless means we are thinking of others first. We are thinking of others first, right? When we are thinking of the comfort of our partner first, that is an important. That's an important point. So Kardam Muni underwent tapasya. The Supreme Lord appeared in front of him, and Supreme Lord, what did he do? The Supreme Lord, he told, yes, you are going to have a perfect wife, Devahuti. So Devahuti, she uh, she had heard about Kardam Muni from Narada Muni. Narad Muni was a great personality who's a transcendental personality who travels across the world in all the three universes. And Narad Muni is the guru of Veda Vyasji. Who is the guru of Veda Vyas? Narada. And Narad Muni, he had, now just like Kardam Muni had an issue of how to look for an appropriate girl in marriage, similarly, Devahuti and her parents also had the same issue. Where should I find an appropriate boy for in marriage for my daughter? The parents also had the same issue. So at that time, Narad Muni had indicated to Devahuti that there is a person named as Kardama. He is a great soul and he is perfectly suitable for as your husband. So you can fix your mind in him. And he narrated to her about the glories about the Kardam Muni. And when she heard, she was very attracted. She never saw Kardam Muni in face. There was no social interaction with Kardam. Not that there is some communication happened. No. She heard about Kardam Muni and she said, yes, this is exactly which suits my nature. Right? And then she agreed to it. Then she said, okay, then if Narad Muni is saying this, she accepted the authority of Narad Muni. That if Narad Muni is saying that this person is suitable for me, then he must be appropriate. And she fixed her mind in him. And one of the most important aspect is that Devahuti, she approached the mother, she informed the mother, then the mother informed the father, and the father said, okay, suitable time. If my daughter is liking Kardam Muni, then they decided, okay, let us go. And the Supreme Lord also had indicated that 3 days from now, the whole family is going to come and hand over their daughter. So this was an arrangement. And so Kardam Muni was naturally, he was inclined towards devotional service. He was doing his ritualistic activities and he was doing his Vedic rituals. He was practicing his devotional life. And at that time, Kardam Muni, when he was absorbed in his service of the Lord, at that time, Swayamva Manu and his wife, the daughter, we need to know who is Swayamva Manu. Very important aspect. We need to know who is this personality. In one day of Brahma, one day of Brahma is huge, not like us. You need to understand. The day of Brahma is not like so many things happen. For example, if we compare our life with the life of the ants, small ants, so many things happen in the life of the ants in one day of ours. Getting the point? In our one day, so many things happen in the life of in the family of mosquitoes. So many things happen in the life of flies. Can you imagine a situation? So many things happen where the life itself is few seconds. So there are species where the life itself is few seconds. So many things happen in that whole species in our one day. For them, for some of the species, it might be that they may take birth again in one day of our life. They might be transmigrating from one body to another body. Just in one day of ours. someone else's life, the life of an animal, they may be transmigrating from one body to another. Okay? So if you carry this, we have to carefully observe what is going on in the nature, and we could relate to what is going on. Brahmaji's life is very different. It is beyond our calculations, but there are calculations mentioned in the scriptures. What are those calculations? We need to understand. One day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. 14 Manus. Who are these Manus? These Manus are the authorities, universal authorities, who come at different times. So there are 14 Manus, right? In each Manu, there are different devatas who occupy that position. Like the Indra, Varun Dev, then the fire god. There are different kinds of, there are 33 types of departments. And these 33 different types of departments, they keep changing in every Manu. And you'll be surprised that all the names of the Manus are also given. Our Manu is Swayamva Manu. The first Manu is Swayamva Manu. Very important to know. Then there are different Manus like Swarochisa Manu, Uttama Manu, Tamasa Manu, Raivata Manu, Chakshusha Manu. We are currently in Vaivasvata Manu. Which Manu? We are in the 7th. That's a calculation. That's a Vedic calculation. It is very authorized. And in the 7th Manu, we are in the 28th cycle. In every Manu's life, there are 71.5 times this Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali are travelled. Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara, Kali. This time it travels 71.5 times in one day of Manu. So you calculate that into 14. There are 14 Manus. So that is one day of Brahma. That is thousands of years calculation. Don't be surprised, because I just mentioned that if we see our human form of life, there are species in whose life all these things is also similarly, time travels in a similar way. Now, when Swayamva Manu came there with his daughter, he saw that Karda Muni was engaged in his devotional activities. So he went and very peacefully sat down. He did not disturb Karda Muni. He went there, everybody sat down very peacefully. Many of the rishis were also there. So they all sat down around him. And they were all waiting for Karda Muni to complete his services. And when Karda Muni realized that he completed his services, he realized that Manu Maharaj has come. So he got up, he offered his respects to Manu Maharaj. Offering respects to everyone is very, very important. Each and every individual is very important. Every human being, every living entity is very important. And we need to offer deep respects to everyone. What is deep respect? Offering from the heart. Respecting them. Why? Because every body is a temple of the Lord. Supreme Lord resides in the hearts of everyone. It doesn't matter which species that is. So everyone is respectable. Everyone is to be deeply respected. So Kardam Muni, seeing Manu Maharaj, a very superior authority of the universe, sitting there, he glorified Manu Maharaj by various ways. And inspired him to continue doing his duties. Because Manu Maharaj's duty is to make sure everybody is following dharma. We human beings are called as Manushya. In Sanskrit, there is a word called as Manushya. Manushya means because we are the children of Manu, we are called as Manushya. Manushya. And there are scriptures written by Manu Maharaj also how the human being should function, they should live. Whenever we buy something very new thing, let's say we buy a very unique camera, for example, a new thing, newly launched, it is not in the market. The first thing we do is we take that product, unbox it, and then we'll see you look for an instruction manual. How this opens up, how one can use this. So there is an instruction manual for it. Similarly, this human form of life, there are instruction manuals which are called as scriptures. How one should utilize this human form of life. So, Manu Maharaj role of the Manu Maharaj was to make sure that all the Manushya or all the human beings, they follow dharma. All the authorities in the universe, all the devatas, they do their duties nicely. Indra is the chief of all the devatas, but above Indra is Manu Maharaj. This is a very important point to be noted. Manu Maharaj then glorified Kardam Muni. And he told to Kardam Muni that, Kardam Muni, I know very nicely that you are looking for an appropriate girl in marriage. And you have performed tapasya. You have pleased the Lord. So you are so glorious. The Lord has appeared in front of him. When the Lord appeared in front of Kardam Muni, the Supreme Lord shed tears. He was crying. Why was he crying? Seeing the devotion of Kardam Muni. Such devoted was Kardam Muni that the Lord cried, and the water which fell down, the tears which fell down, it formed a Bindu Sarovar. It formed a lake on the banks of river Saraswati. There was a beautiful lake which was formed. That was because of the tears which came down from the Lord's eyes. So our Manu Maharaj, he was glorifying Kardam Muni, and then he handed over his daughter to Kardam Muni. Now we need to understand Manu Maharaj's daughter, they are coming from a very royal aristocratic family. She was very rich. Manu Maharaj was rich. Super opulent life. Devuti's upbringing happened in an opulent family. Opulent family. She was born with a golden spoon. Everything was super luxury. And then she has liked a person who has a hut to live. Kardam Muni, how was his house? A small hut, small hermitage. It's a very small place. He did not even have cooking items. When Swayamva Manu handed over the daughter, his wife Shatarupa, he had brought some gifts so that they can start their household life. So she gave a lot of gifts to the couple, so that at least cooking can take place. Otherwise, Kardam Muni was single. He was having a small hut, and he was like, there is whatever come on its own accord type. Now, when a person is single, when a man is on his own, he can live anywhere he wants, he can sleep anywhere he wants. But as soon as he agrees to accept a wife, then there are some basic upgrades which he has to bring to his life. What is the upgrade? That he should have a stable house to stay. Because she cannot stay under a tree or under anywhere he likes. So first thing is to have a house. Right? And then if there is a need to have a car, the car is also needed. Here we cannot travel without car. Very difficult, very challenging. So these are some of the basic requirement for for a person who is switching from single life to married life. So Shatarupa, she offered her a lot of gifts, and then uh, Kardama Muni, he and Devhuti and Kardama Muni and his wife Shatarupa, sorry, Kardama Muni and his wife Devahuti, and they handed over very nicely, and then they left from there. Now, uh, from this point onwards, in the next chapter, there is a discussion about how Devahuti served her husband nicely. But before going into that, I want to come up with a point wherein what are the duties of a husband first. Before we enter that arena, that area of discussion, it is very important because there are so many things for granted. And many times we see that there are only rules and regulations, conditions been put only for the girl. That you should do this, you should do that. It doesn't matter here Indian girl or a Western girl. Huh? The conditions put by the parents, the situations are the same, that you have to do this, you have to do that. So this is a very important point. You need to understand what are the duties of a husband. And then when the husband is of certain, he is following certain standards nicely, then the wife will also be inspired to serve him nicely. As I said, selfless service. So there are a lot of points which we will discuss now. In today's world, there is a trend. What is the trend? Where husbands often neglect their duties while expecting their wives to follow the ideals of Devahuti or Savitri. These are the glorious ladies like Draupadi, Devahuti, Savitri. These were great ladies who perfected their life by serving their husbands. But the point is, their husband was also glorious. So there is a recurring trend that the husband, he neglects his own duties and he expects that the wife follow the ideal. Now, both men and women, they have the respective duties in a married life, and they should follow them. The first is, what are my duties in this relationship? We need to understand. In any relationship, husband needs to understand as a role of what are my duties, right? As a husband, what should I do? What are the selfless services which I need to render towards my wife? And the wife needs to understand what are my services which I need to do towards my husband. So both of them, they should be aware of their respective duties and they should follow them. It is what usually happens is that because men usually have this superiorness, they feel superior. So they are indifferent sometimes in following their own dharma, own duties, but they get very disappointed. बैठिए अच्छे से, आसन लेकर बैठिए. चैंटिंग मत करिए, चैंटिंग बाद में. So, point is that they themselves neglect their own duties, but when they see the wife is not performing her duties nicely, then they think it is a big deviation. It is very common that the boy, when he is married, she is married, they both have agreed, right, that they will be partners for the life. right? Then what happens? The boy has certain duty as a husband, the girl has certain duty as a wife. Both have to follow that. But because this men, they have naturally a superior dominating nature. So they are very critical. What is the critical? They like finding fault. They neglect their own duties and they find fault with others. If a man aspires that his wife should be perfect, man aspires that his wife should be like Devahuti, like Draupadi, like Savitri, like follow the footsteps of Mother Sita, then the first and foremost is that he follows the ideals of Kardama Muni. He follows the ideals of Pandavas. He follows the ideals of other great personalities. So while it is very critical, it is very crucial for a woman to follow her dharma, but it is equally important for the husbands also to do their duties and responsibilities nicely. And the reciprocal commitment. We need to understand the reciprocal commitment to this righteousness from both the genders, from the boy and a girl, husband and wife. They form the foundation of harmonious and peaceful married life. The first 2 years of a relationship, first 2 years are very crucial. That is a plain slate. That is a plain slate. And however you want to mold the life, the couple can decide that we want to mold our life in this way, so they can shape their life, and they can be very good partners for the whole of life. These first 2 years play a very crucial role in these relationships. Some may say our relationship doesn't last for 2 years. Then that means you are not serious about your life. Most important aspect is that when you're looking for a partner, look for a serious relationship. It should not be taken as a joke that we keep changing, but this is not an healthy. This will lead a hellish life. You will be living a hellish life. Now, many times the men, they overlook their own fault, okay, and they see the fault of their innocent wives. And it is very crucial that yes, there may be some fault in her, okay, there may be some shortcomings in her, but there is a way to address those shortcomings. By screaming, by shouting, by becoming aggressive, the problem is not going to get solved, because she has a nature, she has a certain way of doing things. So she must have committed any mistakes, knowingly, unknowingly. So what has to be done? Definitely, if there is some fault, then it needs to be corrected. But how it needs to be corrected, how the matter is placed, how the things are discussed is very, very important. If you just dominate, shout, scream, this doesn't work. Then relationship doesn't last. Because the time may change and you may be in a situation where you are at fault, and then you see how she deals with you. I have practically observed in my household life. I was very dominating. I was like, very dominating nature. But then I realized when I commit mistakes, she's very cool. She's very cool, and that melted my heart. I said, yeah, when she's committing mistake, I have a different way of looking at the situation. And when I committed a big mistake, she is neglecting the whole world and supporting me. It was a big transformation and turning point in my life that helped me understand that relationships can be better if we can uh, work out in a peaceful and a good way, harmonious way. Yes, if the wife needs correction, then there is a way of putting it to her, right? And where she can be corrected, corrective measures can be taken, right? If she did some mistake, then there can be some corrective measures given to her, time given to her, space given to her, and where she reflects on her own actions and she comes out positively. Men usually don't do that. When they find fault with someone, just want to finish it off. Now, there are situations where the wives are ideal and they are doing their duties nicely. And sometimes the husband, he breaks the regularity principle, he goes out of way, right? And so, and she tries to correct him. So it is the men, if they see that their partner, she is very devoted to her duties, she is following her duties nicely, okay, she is doing her dharma nicely, then it is very important that men should be he should be thinking he is very fortunate to have such a partner. And if she is correcting him, helping him, inspiring him to not break any regularity principles, right? Not to smoke, not to drink. If she's correcting him, helping him, and telling him to be honest in his dealings, not just with her, but also with his occupation and everything, then it is such advice coming from her. It is a commendable suggestion, and the husband or the should accept that. Very respectfully should accept. Good suggestions coming from anywhere should be accepted. And definitely if it is coming from a partner, then it should be definitely to be accepted. So marriage is about self-reflection more. Very much important. Self-reflection is very, very important. Because committing to a relationship and wanting that the relationship lasts long, then it is purely an act of self-reflection. We need to look in our heart, what are we? We need to identify that. As I told you, the first 2 years are very, very important, and the first 6 months are the golden period of marriage. Actually, after 6 months, the marriage is tentatively over. First 6 months, the attraction is there, initial bonding is there, everything is there. And after 6 months, the time comes where they develop distastefulness for each other. And from there, how the couple, they actually decide on how to go about their marriage, that will decide the future of their relationship. The first 6 months are very good period, wherein both of them, they can try to mutually understand each other, know each other's liking, know each other's disliking, and there should be a mutual understanding between a couple. If the mutual understanding is good between both of them, then they can face any circumstances. If that mutual understanding is not there, like each other's liking is not there, each other's disliking is not aware of, then everything coming is a big shocker for each other. Every step, every day will become a shock. I did not knew this before marriage. We may be into relationship for good amount of time. These days the culture is of relationships, and they decided to get married after so many years. But being in relationship and then after getting married, you know, you might know a person for 9 years. I have seen couples, they in relationship for 9 years, and when they get married, they cannot go on well with each other. Why? Because they have not come out from their attraction phase, and they are not sat down mutually to discuss each other's nature, understanding, knowing each other's requirement. What are you looking for in the marriage? What is the purpose of marriage? What is the purpose of this relationship? All these things need to be understood first. And for those who are already into relationship, they should also sit down with their partners and reflect on this. It's a very important thing. Having a gentle and virtuous wife is a matter of great pride. Having an understanding wife is a matter of great pride. And a husband who deems it an insult to care for his wife during her illness, actually in reality is neglecting his duties. So there are some important, I have identified around 12-15 points as a duty of a husband. First of all, the husband should not consider the wife as a maid or a servant. That I got a maid who can just do my services. No. She is like a respectable friend, and they are there to give as much happiness to each other. Just like we expect a happiness in the relationship, similarly she also expects happiness in the relationship. The husband shall not hesitate to serve the wife. Then most important thing is also that respecting the wife's parents, relatives, her brothers, her sisters, her parents, and one shall not speak insulting words about them. Usually what happens is small fights, and then we say, oh, your brother is like that, your father is like that, this and that. It's very natural that we start accusing. Doing all the household work, taking major decision after consulting with the wife. Very important. How will the affection and trust develop? When each other they take decisions taking each other's opinion. So one should take, the husbands are required to take advice from their wife, right? For all the decision making. And same is for the wife, they should take all the decisions with consulting the husband. That builds up the team building, that is team building. And there may be fault with the wife, but not to scold her, not to threaten her, but explain her with love, forgive her, and by not behaving in a way by she has to look down to you. Imagine you have to stay with a person who looks down to you. So scenario should not be arise where the partner has to look down to you. So do not have any kind of relationship for husbands. This is especially for the husbands. Do not have any kind of relationship with any other woman except the wife. Same applies for not to have any other relationship with any other man other than the husband. Treat everyone like the mother, sister, and daughter. And the girls should treat other like the brother, father, or like a son. One should not intentionally touch other ladies. One should not even touch the woman's feet. Same is for the women; she should not touch any other feet of the other men. This may be a little weird in terms of contemporary modern world, but these are some things which are neglected, right? And because of this, our So society has degraded. All the relationships are degraded because these things are not being followed. These are some basic principles in the relationship. That being loyal to one and not doing uh, things which will uh, create distrust or insecurity in your partner. If you mingle with other men, or the men mingle with other ladies, and they have very close relation and they become very friendly, overly friendly, then this will create a sense of insecurity in your relationship, and that should be avoided. So to preserve that security, that trust, that bonding, this all this all things has to be done on both sides. And it doesn't matter, uh, it this is a common in every relationship. There is a feeling of insecurity if it arises in the partner, then that relationship will not last long. Then that will create nagging. It will create, insecurity. It will create start. It will relation. It will start converting into a fight. Okay? So remaining transparency is very nice. Remaining transparent when the partner knows everything about you, everything being you are very relaxed in that relationship. Then giving gifts to the wife, getting her clothes, jewelry, and whatever is needed as per her liking. Not to threaten her, not to disrespect her. Sh- It is very important that whenever you are not to disrespect her in the public, not to disrespect her in front of her relatives, not to disrespect her in front of your friends, not to insult the wife, not to insult your partner, not to threaten her, and definitely not abusing, beating her up, because that's the biggest sin. And then uh, there should be also some innocent humor in the married life. There should be jokings and all. This should be not a serious relationship. Whoa, very serious relationship. No, there should be some joking, teasing, between the husband and the wife. Rukmini and Lord Krishna, they got married. After the marriage, everything was done. Lord Krishna one told Rukmini that, Rukmini, why did you get married to me? Shishupal was so nice. He was much better. He was a Kshatriya. I am not even a Kshatriya. I don't know what is my category. I am Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. I don't know. People criticize me. So it was best that you should have married him. Krishna is saying, still the time is not over. You can think. And she fainted. She fainted. So, and then Krishna said, then Krishna picked her up and says, I was just joking with you. There should be some joking, some joke should be also there. Otherwise, this relationship is too serious sometimes. People take householder life, they're extreme. At one extreme, they're very serious, another extreme, they're not following anything. So it should be balance. At one side, we see that there is a common mingling between the husband and the wife. They mingle with everyone else. At the other side, we see very strict. So it should be balance. And then keeping the wife when she keeping always not to travel alone to pilgrim places, and do not keep her alone for a long time. It is not appropriate that the husband keeps her alone for a long time. And one should never say that go and get money from your parents, go get money from your brother, get money from others. You should also provide for the family. So if she can do, she can. Otherwise, if she doesn't do, that is also fine. If she wants to be a homemaker, then she can also be homemaker. So it should not be force things on her. And never ask the wife to get into some sinful activities, right? And it is not appropriate that a wife indulges in sinful activities. So these are some of the important points uh, in which a role of a husband is defined. From tomorrow onwards, we will discuss in detail about the roles of a wife. Yeah, any questions? We can take them. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Oh, yeah, sorry. So you said that sometimes the wife may need to be corrected, but there is a way to do this. Can you expand a little bit on this?
Thank you. Yes, uh, wife mistakes can happen from anyone. Human beings are meant for committing mistakes, and uh, so if mistakes happen, if if she commits a mistake, then instead of scolding her or insulting her in public, one of the most important thing that a relationship suffers is because if something goes wrong between the husband and a wife, things go outside of their relationship. That the husband goes and tell about her to the relatives, to everyone, to the friends, right? Or the if the husband commits some mistake, the wife goes and tells everything to her friends. And what happens is when such things happen, where huh? When such things happen, where you know uh, where things go outside the relationship, that suffers the relationship. You know why? Because different people will try to give their opinions on your situation. They might not know the real situation, but they will start giving opinion, and you may get distracted by that, and you may act in very whimsical manner just on the advice of others. So best is that they try to fix their things among themselves. So most important thing is that you should not insult her in front of public, not tell about her, criticize her about her bad qualities or the mistakes she has made to public, to others. Protecting her, sitting down with her, talking to her, uh, putting down situation. Okay, these are the some of the things which should have been done, and you have did in this way. So and encouraging her, inspiring her to correct things instead of getting very angry, beating her up, abusing, putting a gun on her head. That doesn't work. Okay, so uh, so there are we should deal like a civilized human being. It's very important that our dealings with each other should be civilized, cultured. So okay, she has committed a mistake. That same mistake, it may happen that after some time you may commit the mistake. So and then you will expect that your partner understands you, supports you, right? The same way she will be in a situation where if she has committed a mistake, she'll expect that her partner, her husband, should understand her nicely. Should understand her nicely and uh, inspire her to follow the right thing. That is the most important thing. That if we commit mistake, and if someone still continues to love us, still continue to respect us, okay, and if that situation is dealt nicely, then what happens? We are inspired to do the right things. We don't become rebellious. Otherwise, what we have this natural tendency of becoming rebellious. That oh, he's doing this, I will do more like this. So that inner nature comes out. That one has to be very, very careful about the dealings. So very, very important question, and very so I'll tell you one sutra. Sutra is that the problems between the husband and wife can only be solved by husband and wife, not by third person. Because third person will not know the real situation. By seeing the external situations, they will only advise, right? Now, because neither the husband will tell the truth, neither the wife will tell the truth to her friends, and they will give advice, right? And that advice may spoil the relationship. So the most important thing is uh, is to keep things confidential and try to solve between both of us. Okay, if it goes out, gone, and more it goes out, then it will reach court eventually. Any other questions?
As Vaishnavas, we always, told about not expecting respect. This is our teaching, but you spoke about it a few times in terms of in a relationship that one should be respectful.
Towards others.
Yes, towards others, because sometimes maybe there's 2 points there, because on the last point it's like that one should keep the problems amongst each other, right? However, when there are cases, of course, where, say, a lady's been abused in a marriage or something's going on, it's extremely hard for her.
Then it can go out.
Then it can go, but it's hard to know that boundary, because when ladies have approached me, they're very nervous and scared even to enter into that area. So how can one know oneself, when it goes across the boundary?
When one is not in a position to understand and is only what happens, sometimes when let's say the wife has committed a mistake, grave mistake, right? And then the husband keeps banging every 2-3 days. He keeps bringing that point. Sometimes people are like that. He keeps bringing that point and then criticizing, starts abusing her, starts shouting at her just because of that point. So, if such scenarios are there, then it is most important that they first talk it out amongst themselves, and whatever shouting, screaming has to be done. I mean, what led her to do that situation, to go into that mistake? Why did she do that mistake? So she can explain her point. Let him understand that open communication, open discussion has to take place. Discussion leads to what happens. They talk it out, they speak it up. So that is very important. When such things happen, why it happened? Because if you try to clap hands with one hand, it is not going to happen. Clap needs two hands. That means a mistake has happened. That means what? That means there is a problem between them. So that is the first thing, that you need to understand. A partner commits a mistake, it is actually reason can be both of them. So they need to first sit down and discuss what went wrong with the husband that she did such a thing. So that has to be very nicely communicated. If things are communicated nicely, discussed nicely, then things resolve. But if the partner is abusing, just like you said, that he beats her up, goes out of her way, and then that is a time where yes, things can come out. I am talking in terms of when things are not that, right? Smaller things, but which may rise, which may become big. Smaller things in a relationship, smaller problems become eventually big problems if it is not addressed immediately. If the disease is there in the body, if it is not immediately taken to the doctor, the disease will eventually rise, and it may lead to a serious thing. right? So when there are small problems that needs to be addressed immediately, such scenarios definitely the people need to come into business. But what I am talking is about normal relationships, normal circumstances. When sometimes the wife also beats up the husband. There are scenarios like that. So the such scenarios are to be brought out. But other than that, when I'm talking of normal situations where things are verbal, and only shouting and screaming is going on, and I have seen a husband and wife throwing things at each other. The war takes place. Husband takes something and throws, and the wife also takes something and throws at each other. So they don't throw at each other; they throw towards that area. Bang! So that is also So most important thing is sitting down and discussing, a discussion, and having mutual communication. Addressing the issue together is very important. Because if that is not closed there and it remains in her heart or his heart, then eventually it's going to come out. If it is not addressed and it's just kept inside, after a few days, things will pile up, pile up, and then it is going to be a disaster. So best is that communication is very open, and there itself the issues are addressed amongst each other. So that makes a relationship uh, harmonious. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much.